We got flipped from one fire to another and then to another one.
Really?
Yeah, and then went home.
That's crazy.
We were out for fucking 12 days in the bush.
Man.
You know how crazy you go?
12 days fighting fires? That'd be insane. Alright, this is the reveal. There you go. I want to start this video by saying that summer 2017 was probably one of the best summers of my life. Because I only edited about half the summer's footage, this right here is a little recap. I spent a good chunk of my time in Streetsville. There I discovered just how cool of a place Mississauga really is.
Casual. Oh my god, look at this court. Oh my god. Oh my god.
This house right here? This big ass one?
It's a house?
While in Mississauga, I was introduced to Port Credit. To say I fell in love would have been an understatement. When I wasn't in Mississauga, I was in downtown Toronto. Hotbox Cafe is right down there. That way. That way. And while I was in the city, I was always on the move. And always on the hunt for really cool things to do. Things like going to the Toronto Pride Parade and meeting all of the really cool people there.
What's up, dude?
Although the city treated me well, my favorite memories this summer actually took place up at Sammy's cottage. Not only was it an awesome place to unwind, it was the perfect place to celebrate Canada's 150th. Getting to celebrate Canada Day with Sammy and her family was honestly an honor and a privilege.
Grayson's not happy because he knows that this vlog is going to be more successful than all of his others.
I haven't had a successful vlog yet.
The one that I was in was pretty successful.
By the end of the summer, my mental health and my love life were both honestly better than ever. I knew this was a good thing, because frankly, what came next really wasn't that easy.
Bye, Sammy!
This was us saying goodbye to Sammy. As hard as it was to see her go, I can honestly say so far her and I have been doing really, really well. And honestly, I really, really am proud of her for all that she's done so far.
Against the ocean, and then it leads us like downtown. And then, yeah, we're on a hill.
Very shortly after she left, Mom, Tobin, and I had driven to the capital, because Tobin was starting his first year at university.
Holy shit. You did it. You survived high school.
As you can see, I'm as supportive as brothers get.
Now you gotta survive this.
The very next day, it was my turn to move in.
That's it. I'm officially moved into Power Court.
Even though it was my first night back and I was really excited to see everybody, I made the decision to keep my camera back at the house. You know, I planned on spending a lot of time with my friends, I was gonna get distracted, you know, it's just like, let's call it college therapy.
Ah, thanks. I needed that.
When I woke up for the first day of class, I was so excited to see everyone in the program.
That's good for vlogging though, eh?
Oh yeah. There you go, so it's actually filming now, it's sick.
Okay.
Woo!
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Too good, man.
Contact like...
I wanted to talk to everyone, but as soon as we showed up, Val was straight to work because it was the start of the fall field camp.
And I probably had this for 15 years.
First, we discussed personal gear. Then we went outside and Val helped us all learn the basics of sea kayaks.
Get in, sport.
Yeah.
Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot.
Great.
Once the lesson was over, we were split up into our paddle groups and we were told to create our own menu. The next morning came bright and early when we all gathered as a group outside the outdoor ed building to ensure that all of our consumables and all other supplies, including the major equipment such as tents and other things we needed to camp, were all in order. Once that was settled, we got all the food packaged up, organized it all into one big pile, started packaging everything into the bus, and then from there we just had to sit back and enjoy the 4.5-hour drive. I napped through most of it. Well rested and eager to move, we found ourselves finally on Georgian Bay. It was honestly a really cool campsite. The only thing cooler than the campsite, though, was the view that it had.
I'm gonna keep this acorn. I love acorns and celery.
For meals, we all worked together as a team.
A third of that.
Try to cut the carrots up small.
What's that? What's that? Human.
That night was pretty chill. but in the morning we had to jump right to it with an early rise.
See, the main reason we found ourselves on the bay was because we were working with an organization called White Squall Paddling, and they were going to try to help us get our level 1 sea kayaking skills certification. But once we found out who our instructors were, we were told that we needed to go out on the water and do basic safety drills just to prove that we were competent enough to go out on the bay. But right before we started doing the drills, the sky just opened right up. Because of the rain and the fact that I was nervous to do some of the safety drills, I decided to leave my GoPro on the side, but luckily while we were out on the water, I preferred my first wet exit, and honestly it couldn't have gone better.
From there we took apart camp, set a bearing to our first destination, and loaded the kayaks. Finally, we had set off on our adventure. At first, it was difficult. Like, really difficult. But once we got to the halfway point and had a little water break, things got a lot easier. After what felt like hours of paddling, but realistically was only an hour, we finally arrived there, and my god, it felt good to get out of wet clothes.
That night the wind really picked up. And because of how tired we all were, we decided to go to bed pretty early. The next morning, the winds were just as bad. But we actually ended up having a new member of the team join us.
This is our mascot, and we named him Wolfie.
Because the wind continued through the night, we as a group decided that we were going to spend one more night on that island, and instead of pushing on, we were just going to cover more content around on the other side where we were protected from the wind. While on the other side, we did things like practice stroke techniques, as well as practice other safety drills that were very important for sea kayaking.
More Rolene, Grayson, more Rolene. Put all your weight on that.
That's what she said.
Hey! After we had just gotten to the end of all of the drills we needed to do, we had actually heard thunder, and we decided as a group to get off the water because of the fact that it was really not safe. About half an hour after lunch, and when we had started covering more theory on land, my stomach started to get really upset, and I ended up sleeping for about 12 hours. This footage right here, that was the last footage that I took that day, and this was the next shot I took the next morning.
Yeah, I'm alive.
So I woke up the next day,
Saw that the wind had completely died down, and decided that I was going to continue to push on. We set a bearing for Snake Island, and then we were back at it. We had a solid 6-kilometer paddle ahead of us, and Josh and I were manning the tandem.
While in the tandem, you carry most of the extra weight, and while you're at the front of the tandem, basically the only job that you have is to never stop paddling, and you are essentially the engine of the boat. Needless to say, it was really difficult.
Beto. We're at Maple, and we're just gonna go.
After we stopped the water, we double-checked we were going in the right direction.
Luckily, we didn't get lost, and we managed to get to Snake Island in just under 2 hours, and in time to actually catch one of the other groups doing some yoga. After lunch, we found out that we had a challenge to do. Given a map and only the name of the island, Gwen, Josh, and I were responsible for finding where the island was, and we weren't allowed having any help from any of the guides whatsoever. Because it was the last night and we had successfully covered all of the content, we spent most of the night just working on our journals, but realistically, we spent most of it just having fun.
That's good. Like, I don't know, you think that's enough salt? I think it's a perfect amount.
You better get that gravity bag working.
This is why Ian's the cook. The next morning, after we had taken apart camp and we had had breakfast, we were all taken over to the side one-on-one and found out whether or not we had passed or failed. Luckily, I totally passed. After I got my certification, I had planned on to stop filming completely for the rest of the trip and just end it there and continue on to the next week, but on our way back we found something pretty cool.
This is the closest thing I've ever found to Canadian sunken treasure. To say the least, this trip was life-changing, but truly, it felt so good to finally be back on Fleming's campus. Being back feels great, and so far the classes have honestly been so cool. It's so awesome to be back in the learning environment.
Oh, don't you just like a tall drink of water? Okay, get out of my way, sugar tits. How you doing?
And so far, it's been honestly amazing having the Outdoor Ed crew back together.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
After being stuck in a kitchen for months, it was really nice to revisit Ken Reed Conservation Area again.
It was really nice getting some fresh air. Plus, it was really cool getting to show Caleb one of my favorite views of all time. As for Power Court, well, it's been pretty fun so far.
What's the street I'm turning left on called?
Sweetnam.
Okay, I'm passing like Frost campus now.
I think I hear your car. I see you. It almost hits the children.
Nature.
All in all, Lindsay has been treating me pretty well, and life is honestly amazing. I seriously look forward to the rest of the year, and honestly can't wait to see all the amazing videos that have yet to come. But until then, peace.